Welcome to our Week 14 Draftkings slate breakdown. Today we're going to be going position by position, giving you our favorite plays, generally from a tournament perspective, maybe some cash game plays thrown in as well. And then at the end, we will build a Millie Maker lineup, the Millie Maker winning lineup.
That's right. Every week we build a winner.
That one of these times, like if we ever build the winner and we can refer back to the show, it'll be great for us.
Yep. All documented.
Yeah, exactly. Who wants to start us off with their favorite quarterback plays? Starting off at the expensive tier, moving down.
I mean, top two guys, Josh Allen and Patty Mahomes. I think it could be a really good shootout type of game for us. So I'll probably have some of both there. I'm not going to fade either one of them, to be honest.
Yeah, both situations. Yeah, I mean, obviously highest total on the slate. Two teams that we know can put up 1 billion points, but they're tough stacks on both sides of the ball. I mean,
yeah.
Josh, we talk about Mahomes every week and kind of the dart throw that you've got with all those secondary guys. Obviously, Rasheed. Rice has kind of stepped up and shown that he's the number 2 guy there. But on the other side of the ball, you got Dawson Knox coming back, which negates a lot of what Khalil Shakir has been doing for them. I think Kincaid takes a bump. The red zone and kind of this over the middle of the field section, I think, becomes so much more of a dart throw with the Bills now with Knox back in. Obviously, Josh Allen presents a little bit more rushing upside than Mahomes, but you're also looking at a game where Pacheco's not going to be playing. So, they may very heavily rely on Mahomes' arm throughout the majority of it, especially if the Bills are putting up points.
Yeah, and I think, to that point, in short yard situations, like obviously they'll still run a little bit, but I think if you look at McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they're more pass catchers than they are pure runners. So I could see a lot more designed screens for those two guys instead of like a pure running play, which, right. That's why I like Mahomes a little bit extra this week. And you could get two, I like Edwards-Helaire, so he's pretty cheap with the Pacheco news just coming out today. And I like Rashee Rice in the 5,000s as well. You get Patrick Mahomes, number 1 wide receiver, maybe not number 1 target, but for a pretty good price.
Yeah, I think the CE8 or the Pacheco being out news is actually unlocked. I almost think that these two were near unplayable, not because they were bad plays. Like I love Josh Allen, especially this week, but because just from a slate perspective, like what are you doing? You're in that stack. Like to me, like Kelsey and Diggs, maybe Rice were like the best plays, but try stacking Mahomes to Kelsey, running it back with Diggs and seeing what you have to work with. The value is not that great. Well, now it is with Edwards-Helaire, who also happens to be in this game. So I think he kind of unlocks you being able to play this game. So now like CEH, we'll get to running back, but yeah, I mean, I think you can play him with Mahomes. But my favorite expensive, and actually I think it's just my favorite overall quarterback play of the slate is Lamar Jackson. He's my overall favorite. You rarely get like Lamar in like a pretty good spot. Like the Rams defense is not great at all at really, really low ownership. And he's been a guy like he hasn't like he's 14, 23, 15, 12 points, 11 points, 18, 11. And then he has like, these some big games like 29, 32, 37. But we know he has the tournament winning upside in him. And I think he's going to be able to run quite a bit against this Rams team. And I like his stacking. It's like the affordability. I don't think you have to run it back with the Rams. Like this is like the one spot on the whole slate where I don't think you need it. Like it's.
You think there's blowout potential?
Yeah, I think there's either blowout potential or like Cup and Puka, like they could each
Just
score,
splitting it.
but
Yeah.
it's just split and neither of them hit that. Like so it can still be like a little bit of a shootout, but neither one really gets there. So
Right.
I mean, if I play Cup, Puka, or Kyron, it would be in this game. Like I don't think I'm gonna play any of them as one-offs, but I don't necessarily need a run back, but I do like Lamar a ton. I like his stacking partners because they're very cheap. You have
Yep.
Isaiah Likely at tight end,
Yep.
very cheap. Zay Flowers, super cheap. And then even Bateman and dare I say it, Odell Beckham,
Wow.
I will be. I mean,
The words
if
came out
Lamar's
of
my
his
favorite,
mouth.
yeah. If I'm gonna play Lamar and he's my favorite, like I'm not gonna have like Odell go for a ceiling game and me
Right.
miss out because he was the one guy I didn't play. So
Yeah.
gonna have mix and match all of these guys, but he's my
I
top
I
for
agree
sure.
with you there. He's my favorite expensive guy for sure as well. With Mark Andrews out, it narrows the target share significantly to getting these cheap pieces in for extremely good value. I mean, Likely and Zay Flowers in particular are my two favorite, but wouldn't shock me if Bateman or OBJ got there as well. But yeah, I agree. It's cheap stacks. You're getting that elite level rushing quarterback in there at the top, and it opens up the rest of your lineup with how cheap you can get two pass catchers in there with him.
Yep. Yeah. So it's for me, it's probably in order Lamar, Allen, then Mahomes, but yeah, Lamar for sure. My
Yeah,
favorite.
the
All right.
Rams started the season too as a top 10 pass defense, and I think the past 5 weeks they're ranked at 22. So I thought that was kind
I
of
mean,
interesting. Saw it
yeah, I
today.
never thought they were like great. Like had some fluky like
Witherspoon
maybe
was playing better than everyone thought.
yeah. But I don't think they're good at all. For me, it's kind of like this big gap. Like I'm kind of like literally, it's like I'm going to the top with these guys, or I'm skipping everyone, like every single person in the middle, and going all the way down. I mean,
Yeah.
all the way down to I'm kind of sprinkling Russ and Dobbs, but barely playing them, and just going to Baker and Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, I don't
Before we
hate
go
that.
that far down, I do want to touch on my hometown boy Justin Fields. I think he is definitely playable this week. Uh, 3 games against the Lions dating back to last year. He has 100 plus rushing yards in each game. Um, Also, in the 2 games since he returned from injury, he's got 30 rushing attempts total, 73% of those on design runs. So it's not just him kind of like waiting around in the pocket for someone to get open and sprinting out of there. They're using him on the ground as this rushing quarterback again, kind of like they did last year, where they're cautious in the front end of the year to call these design runs for him. They want kind of that longevity there, but as the season progresses, and obviously the Bears aren't in contention for anything other than 2 top 5 picks and potentially moving on from Fields, I think that opens up their um, reasoning and flexibility with allowing him to take more hits and to use him for what makes him his best, and that's running the ball. So, last little stat here on Fields: in the 14 games he's got 10 plus rushing attempts, he's averaging basically 22 points a game. And so, he's proven it against the Lions. They're using him more on the ground, which is what you need from him to get to that ceiling. And so I do think I will be playing Fields this week as well. But other than him in the middle range, I mean, I think Purdy's playable, but I don't love it this
Bleh.
week. I mean, say what you will, like his price tag, he's been delivering. I don't care how it gets done, he's getting it done.
Yeah,
So
but I don't think this is a good
Yeah.
matchup.
I usually sprinkle Russ in there, but I'm kind of with PB. Like a lot of the top guys, I know like Justin Fields has a lot more upside with DJ Moore, but I think just given the concentration of that offense, like if I'm going to play a Bears breakout game, like I think for me, I'm just taking DJ Moore as a piece. And I think there's a lot better value. Like to me, Russ and Fields will probably be in the same range. And, PB, I think you left one big guy off the board here, and it's Joe Flacco. Last week, 17
Stop. You're not
points.
playing Flacco.
I am 100% playing Flacco.
Oh my
He
God.
looked like the best Browns quarterback we had all year. His timing on routes are like he's still not missing a step. 17 points last week. And I think the Jags run defense is really, really good. The Browns love to pound the rock, and they're not going to be able to move the ball unless it's through the air. So I think he has another week under his belt to understand the playbook. There was a lot of like miscues and timing errors that like were just obvious last week from him just being thrown in the mix. And I think, he had a week to clean some of that up. And I expect him to take another step forward here. So I'm playing Joe Flacco at 4,700. Like he
Dude,
puts up another 20-point game and like he's
explain there's no ceiling on Joe Flacco. Amari Cooper's probably not playing. Like, where is
he
he
barely
generating?
used Amari Cooper last week.
But he's out there. He's still a guy that the defense has to account for. With him off the field, all their focus, like I just don't think he has any ceiling whatsoever. Like he's not
I don't
mobile
think
at all. The
I don't
Jags
think
are,
His pricing, though, is, I
yeah,
think, one of Nick's
it's
main
just the
arguments.
value. If he puts up 20 points again, like he pays for himself. I
he
don't think
didn't though.
he's
He put up 17. That's not going to win you a tournament.
at 4,500. I mean, it
No, at
opens up so much.
4,700, 17 is doing you nothing on the slate.
I
You
mean,
need 20 plus from him.
it let you play CeeDee Lamb and another top receiver last week, and there was no other combination where you're paying
Nick,
$6,000 for a
Brock
quarterback and
Purdy had
still
over 30. You're
taking
not
two of the top
competing with
wide
that.
receivers.
You're not competing with the quarterbacks that go for 30 plus. It's not happening.
I like the lineup builds with him, but
Two guys a little bit further up than that. One in the middle range that I like, and one at this lower end that we're targeting right now. Josh Dobbs, I think, is in a really good matchup here. You're getting Justin Jefferson back. The Raiders have allowed the third most passing yards to quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks and the third highest completion percentage all year. Coming off of the bye, getting arguably the best receiver in the game back, for a guy who has looked solid this year, under 6K, I think, is worth a play. And then going down to this lower end that we're talking about, Jake Browning. We've seen it week in and week out. This Indy defense, just lets up, 21, 30 points a week. And that's why they're in all these overs. The offense runs super fast. They put up points, and then on the other side of the ball, they're having trouble with receivers and people in the passing game mainly. Obviously, Jake Browning is not Joe Burrow, but when you pair him with the weapons that the Bengals have, I think that he's a really good play, because on top of that, I think Joe Mixon is going to come in very popular this week. And so you're getting a little bit of leverage off of those plays going with the Browning and the pass catchers in there. And, it's a very doable stack to get both Jamar and T in there. We haven't quite seen both of them in one game make it there yet, but against Indy, I think it's as good a spot as ever to see that potential happen.
Yeah, Browning was one guy that he's on the fence to maybe I'm gonna throw him in. He won't probably be in any of my single entry or smaller field tournament, but maybe for large field I'll throw him in there. But it's hard chasing a big game like that from someone like.
Yeah.
But Ritter, yeah, like I said, they were in my over in the bets show we did yesterday. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, and another thing is what's AJ Terrell is probably out too. So it's just even more of this shootout that I think happens. And so Justin Fields was a guy when I first looked at the slate, when I opened the DraftKings app, I was like, he's probably going to be my favorite guy until I looked more into it. One, I think he's going to be without a doubt the highest owned quarterback. I have no doubt. I'm fairly confident he is going to be the number one guy this week. So I think Fields is going to end up coming close to 20%. DJ Moore is going to be 25 to 30%. So you just immediately have this really high owned stack. Probably take Cole Kmet along with him. And it's a game where I I said like I kind of lean the under here. Like we kind of talked about it yesterday on the bet show. Second time they've played. I really think the Lions are tired of hearing about this like Fields always running all over them. And I think they're going to make that a priority this game to not let him, run all over him and force him to pass. And isn't this supposed to be like a weather game where it's going to be windy? So why wouldn't they do that? Why wouldn't they really just be like, you're not beating us on the ground?
I mean,
You have,
I think every team going in, I agree with your points. I also think every team going in to face the Bears is trying to do just that, right? They're trying to make Fields throw the ball week in and week out. And we've seen the Lions not be able to stop him on the ground in the last 3 times that they've played. Like, it's not some, hidden secret that Justin Fields is a better runner than a passer. And yet he's still got 3 games in a row against the Lions with 100+ yards. So I agree that there's a chance of some weather. It's the second divisional matchup, which we talk about seeing sometimes lower points. But yeah, in terms of the ownership piece, I think that's where even though I like Fields, DJ Moore, and Kmet this week from a fantasy perspective, the ownership projections that you're basing it off of definitely knock him down in my rankings. I'm still going to play him, but it just makes it that much harder for him to win you or get you a high placement in a tournament.
Yeah. Justin Fields could definitely just absolutely wreck me this week. Like I'm bracing for that because he's going to be the high. Like if I see him go like one of those 70-yard runs for a touchdown, it's just kind of like a close the laptop and go hang out with the wife. But I'm bracing for that. Josh Dobbs, like you said, he was a guy that because I really want to be on the Justin Jefferson blow up before he does.
Right.
And it's probably he's the cheapest he's been all year, lowest owned he's gonna probably be all year, unless he just kind of doesn't do anything here. But this is kind of one of those spots where I like the under. Well, yeah, aren't they both coming off a bye? I believe
the Bears for sure are.
I know the Vikings have to be. They didn't play last week, and the Raiders definitely. Yeah, I think both these teams are coming off a bye. And you had that one stat that always just kind of
Lions beat your Saints last
week.
No.
The Vikings versus
the Raiders. Excuse me, sorry.
The Dogs.
Yeah, they were on a bye.
Got it. Yeah,
they were both on bye. So it just kind of maybe I'll play Justin Jefferson as a one-off and in a little bit of Dobbs, but I don't want to be on him. And then that was kind of it for quarterback.
Yeah, that's all I got there too.
I do like Ritter a lot, receivers though. In a dome type of setting, which Las Vegas has.
Yeah, so I get it. It's like a good spot, and it on paper, it's like you kind of want to target in a bad weather week in a dome. Justin Jefferson's coming back, but get on that early. It does make sense, but I also don't
think this game's in Vegas, actually.
Yeah, and it is, yeah. But and Ritter's probably my favorite really cheap guy. I just I think he's been on 2 or 3 Millie Maker winning teams this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all at home. Now he gets Tampa at home. Kyle Pitts bringing home the Millie this week. I think so.
He could.
It would justify if he won you $1 million. Your justification for dying on that hill the last 2 years would be all worth it.
Yeah,
it would. And I'll probably be heavier on Kyle Pitts when we get to that end than any other week this week, but we'll get to that.
All right, what about running backs?
Yeah, running back.
Love Alvin Kamara. I think it's a great spot for him this week. He's probably my favorite guy in the top 3. I'm pretty much completely out on Austin Eckler. I've been fading him all year, and I'm just going to stick to it. He hasn't shown me anything that he's bouncing back. McCaffrey's McCaffrey. If you want to go expensive, he's a nice, safe play.
Yeah, he torched the Seahawks 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think
you beat Seattle too. So
McCaffrey's for sure the I mean, just like raw points. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I can't think of
30
anyone.
easy.
Yeah.
30 points inbound. Like,
Like,
I
it's like a
think
20-point floor in this spot, in my opinion, and like a 45-point ceiling.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle's averaging giving up 21, almost 22 points a game to the running back position. And then you put the best running back in there, like he's gonna have a great day. Um,
Yeah. I agree.
I have him projected for almost 30 points.
It's wild. It's just,
I
he's something else, man. But yeah, I agree. Eckler completely fading. You know, we talked about it on the bet show. Staley's essentially communicating that it might be, you know, not a 50-50 split, but that Joshua Kelly is going to see more time and more carries. I actually, you know, as much as I love the Ravens defense, I like Kyron this week. I know PB, you're talking about potentially no run backs in that game for the Rams side, but
he's my favorite run back for
yeah,
without a doubt.
yeah, the Ravens actually haven't been as good against the run as the whole defense has been. They've been like a bottom 12 run defense over the last month of the season and allow on average 18 and a half points a game to running backs who receive more than 14 carries. Kyron's averaging basically 20 carries a game. So
he has the, besides Christian McCaffrey, if Christian McCaffrey wasn't in the league, he would have the best role as a running back in all of football.
he's got like a 95% snap share. Like
He's Todd Gurley. He's
leaves.
Todd. Like, just
Yeah.
think, when you think of Kyron Williams, just think Todd Gurley, and it'll reframe everything in your mind of like when you look at his salary for DFS,
Yep.
like just think of Todd Gurley, and that's it.
Yep.
yeah,
He has that role.
I mean, Ravens are top one or two, I would say, pass defenses in the league. I think the Jets are also up there too, and statistically, those are the top two teams as well. So I think they're going to need to get Kyron involved a lot. And honestly, if Lamar is going off, that's a great way to slow him down, is just keep the ball out of his hands and like play the ground and pound game. So McVay knows that. He's a very smart coach and he's very strategic like that. So I think Kyron's in for a nice week.
It's definitely like a bet, especially like I plan on the Ravens being ahead. And so then maybe Kyron gets involved. That's why it's like I don't think you need the run back, because Kyron really could. Like, has there been any game this year that he's been in where it's like they were kind of just playing from way behind the whole time? I don't think so. In Arizona, twice. Cleveland, no.
I mean, yeah, San Fran and Philly were close games.
Yeah. So at Philly, he only had 7 points, which I think
Right.
it could be. And then San Fran, yeah,
They'll put up 28 against San
Fran.
Fran.
10 targets against San Fran. Like, yeah, he just could get there just on a straight volume. But yeah, definitely my favorite run back if I'm running it back in that game. CMC is easily my favorite expensive guy. Man, this is just like quarterback. It's kind of like I like these top three. Eckler's tough, but I do like him because Denver's awful against the run.
Yeah, he has a great matchup for sure.
And like, how often are you going to get Austin Eckler in a really good matchup? Projected. I mean, he still gets the goal line work. Like, I think he's going to get the goal line work, and you're getting him at super low ownership, has the ceiling, I think, still. And I don't know, Patrick Surtain could be all over Keenan Allen. Like, he could just get a ton of receiving work.
I think he plays more on the outside, but
I think he might. But Keenan Allen plays on the outside
sometimes.
Most of the time.
They move him around. But I don't disagree that Surtain could for sure be the main matchup for him. But yeah, these 6K high, like low sevens, high sixes. Not many of these guys are jumping off the page to me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously JT is out, ETN's banged up. Not going to see nearly as much volume, I don't think, and is going against Cleveland. Josh Jacobs,
No.
Rashad White is in a really tough matchup against Atlanta. Pacheco out. We touch on Gibbs and Montgomery every week. The Bears' run defense is actually shored up quite a bit in this last month of the season.
That Sweat trade helped him a ton.
It did. It really did. You know, I wish, it's these Atlanta skill position players, if they were just like almost anywhere else in the league, would be so much more fun to play on a week in and week out basis. And PB, I know you're on Ritter this week. What do you think about Bijan?
I like Bijan, but there's just, I mean, he'll be in some lineups. Probably won't get to him in any small field like my main lineups for my tournaments, but I'll sprinkle him in some like the 150 that I do, and I'll stack him with Ritter in some of those lineups too, because I mean that's kind of like actually how running backs have had success against Tampa is not like just through it's passing the ball to them. So yeah, I'll have some, but it's just I kind of like that like really top expensive tier, and then I like some of these really cheap guys. There's a few in this mid tier that I'm kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are on them, but yeah, it's kind of like the quarterback just way up or
Yeah.
skip over these guys.
Mm-hmm.
The two kind of mid range guys I'm looking at. Sorry to cut you off there, Nick. James Cook and Zach Moss.
Okay, so James Cook was one that I was curious on your guys' thoughts.
I like what Joe Brady's doing with him.
Yeah,
So
that's
in
kind
the
of
yeah, after he's taken over both games that he's called, Cook has had over 100 yards from scrimmage. I think he's averaging like, what is it? It might be 20 touches in these last two games.
Yeah, looks like last week he had 21, week before that 21. So
yeah. So
he's had like 21 and 24 opportunities in the two games.
24. Yeah. So
yeah, and then on top of that, if we're assuming that Knox is playing since he's been practicing all week, I could see them lining up in 11 personnel significantly more than they have when he's been out, and using him kind of in that, Kincaid as more of the receiving tight end and Knox as like a blocker initially with some like red zone, short dumpage over the middle of the field upside. So I think James Cook is in a really good spot here too, because Kansas City is pretty middle of the road in terms of run defense. So I think the matchup, and we talked about all the points that are possibly scored here. Yes, you might get vultured on the goal line with a Josh Allen scramble with Cook, but his role and his usage since Brady's been calling the plays is very high level.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no denying that. That's why because you just look at his opportunities the last 2 weeks, and it's hard to just gloss over that. Like
Yeah. And then you're also getting leverage. I mean, the Bills. He'll probably get used a lot in Chiefs run back spots, just because it's going to be almost impossible to get like Diggs in there. And obviously, Gabe Davis will get some of that run back too. But I think Josh Allen will be a highly owned stack, and I think most people that are playing Josh Allen, rightfully so, are going to fade Cook. So you're getting the leverage there on top of all that usage.
What do you guys think of Javonte?
Javante's so before the CEH stuff, he was my like favorite cheap running back. He's still my second favorite. CEH has surpassed him, but he's going to be a staple in my 150 lineups and like my small field tournament lineups. Like he will be a staple. He was actually last week as well. So I'm kind of going back to the well. The Houston kind of had a lead on him, and it's harder for him to get there. But yeah, I really like Javonte this week.
And then right above him, we saw Zach Moss fail probably 80% of the field last week. How much do you think that affects his ownership this week in a game that we saw last week, him get literally 100% of the snaps?
I think he's the highest owned running back by
again.
Yeah. And I think he's a phenomenal play. Like I think he's a great play as well. Like I like Javonte, but I like Zach Moss. It's kind of like if I was ranking my favorites, it's CEH1, Javonte.
I mean, Tennessee is a
Moss.
really good run defense, and like I think that's why he failed last week. It's just matchup.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think he's in a much better matchup this week.
for sure.
I mean, he's more
Bengals,
expensive, but still a good value.
yeah, Bengals have allowed 4 straight games with a running back touchdown, and 8 of the past 9 games running back has scored. And Zach Moss is going to get probably 100%, if not like 95 at bare minimum percent of the snaps. So
I think he had 10 red zone opportunities last week, didn't score, but like that's like the most opportunities a running back has had all year long. So like again, last week he was still like a good good play because of how much volume he gets. And when you get 10 opportunities, it doesn't matter what kind of defense you're playing. Like you could fall in. Like he falls in, he's at 13 or 14 points. He's easily paying off of, however cheap he was. He was still in the Millie Maker lineup with
right,
that score of 7.
Yeah, it was
It just a
46.
lot and that's why CEH to me this week, it's going to be, I know he's probably not, he doesn't have that same role as Moss, but he's in a way better matchup against Buffalo. He's on a better offense, I would say, than the Colts. And, Mahomes gets him down there. He just punches them in.
If he gets a score and like a couple of targets and a couple of rushes, he's probably getting there.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2, like one, he didn't get in, and then Pacheco took him. But that game, a few games ago, I was happy because I had so much Pacheco that slate. But it was when Pacheco had that 2 touchdown game a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Edwards-Helaire had he had the opportunity to get it, and he didn't. And I think he failed twice at the 1-yard line. And that was, when Pacheco was playing, and now he's going to have that role to himself. I think he's going to get used in the pass game, goal line. So, I mean, CEH is just easily my favorite running back play this week. It's such a bad value week too. Like we'll get to receiver. It's so hard to find receiver value.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that scares me with CEH, I don't disagree with you whatsoever. He's one of my favorite plays as well. The one thing that always scares me with the Chiefs is we saw it at the end of the year last year. It's just McKinnon goes on these crazy tears when no one else is looking. 3 touchdown games, like it's a possibility. So that's always a little scary, but his pricing and the value that game is going to bring is ginormous for CEH.
And I like it because now I can actually really stack. Before it was gonna be, like I said, really hard to stack. I think you could even do you could capture the entire Chiefs offense in a small field tournament if you think they have a good game. If you could do Mahomes to CEH to Rice and Kelsey. You have the entire Chiefs offense, and then run it back with Diggs or James Cook or Gabe Davis. Like you could do that, and you could, if that game goes crazy, you're cashing for sure.
Yeah.
In whatever tournament you're in, and you have opportunity to really, if that, I like that stack a lot.
Yeah.
So
who else at the bottom here? Anyone else?
For Ryan, I mean, I'm going to sprinkle Madison, but that's the last guy.
It's tough sledding. I guess it is Vegas though.
It's Vegas, and he hasn't had any touchdowns all year, rushing touchdowns. Just banking on some variance there, and that's kind of where I'm at with him. Just really low owned as well. Obviously, I would never play him high owned.
Yeah. Nick, you got anyone else we didn't call out?
No. CEH was the cheapest.
All right. Receiver. We touched on some of these top guys already. Obviously, Diggs at the very, very top there. Keenan Allen, I think we all, at least for the most part, agreed is in a much tougher spot, even though he's got just absurd target share in that offense. And then Jefferson, again, we talked about a guy who you can get away with as a one-off if you like Dobbs a little bit like me this week. Obviously, he's the go-to pass catcher there. So yeah, what are you guys thinking elsewhere?
Man, this is tough. Like I think it's a 3 running back, or I think this could be 3 running back playing in the flex, or a 2 tight end week. I hate receivers in general. this week, like overall. Um, and there's just not much value. So it's like I kind of like getting one of those expensive running backs and then CEH, and then maybe one like I'm trying to think of my favorite, probably Diggs.
Yeah, at the top end, you mean?
Yeah, at the top end, like he's definitely like over. Yeah, he's definitely my favorite at the top end. Um,
I mean, I
but
like Justin Jefferson. He's kind of like Jamar Chase to me. It's like it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, it doesn't matter who they're playing. You can count on them for 20 points each week. Um, Obviously this was with Kirk Cousins, but the lowest amount of points that Jay Jettas put up was like 26.
Yeah.
So
No, he's absurd.
maybe I'm taking like 5 or 6 points off just for the Kirk Cousins effect, but I still think he gets to 21
Yeah,
easy, and he has the best ceiling, debatably, about anyone. I don't like a lot of guys in that range. Like Mike Evans this week, I think has a tough matchup, even with um,
why do you think it's tough?
they have good safeties in Atlanta, and that's
Yeah,
where I think Mike Evans hits his ceiling is when he can, catch a lot of those long balls, and then he gets one or two red zone looks.
he had 6 for 82 and a touchdown last week, so it wasn't one of his like
Yeah,
crazy games, but yeah.
I just like targeting like weaker safeties for Mike Evans specifically. Like if you have maybe more Chris Godwin, but he's just not that great with Baker.
yeah, their games don't line up
Um,
nearly as much.
yeah, like I don't like Nico Collins even with Tank Dell out. Like the
No,
Jets are really good,
bad
so
match.
like
There's no way I'm
I'm not
playing
playing him.
Nico Collins over Jamar Chase at the same exact price.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
Devontae Adams,
Yeah, and I'd play Adams
Right,
or
Chaser
Chase
Adams for
over.
sure.
right?
Yeah, Nico's
So
gonna be like a percent owned, but just not going there.
no,
No,
not the
Yeah,
week.
like, but I mean,
so
yeah, Adams. It's like all these guys are like I don't know. Minnesota's defense is like really they blitz a ton, and Adams actually gets targeted like crazy when they blitz. But it's one of those if Aiden O'Connell just can't handle it, or I
yeah,
don't know. It could just and I like I said, I kind of like the under in this game. So it's like I like Adams, but I like Chase against Indy, but it's like I hate betting off of this blow up performance with maybe he comes in a lot more popular than I think. Amon Ra, Jefferson, and Diggs are probably my three favorites because I think you're gonna have ownership in check on all of them. Like I don't think, especially Amon Ra, I for sure don't think he's gonna get well. Now that I'm thinking about
Jalen
field,
Johnson's been one of the best cornerbacks in the league this year. I think. I don't know if he
no,
shadows or
he
plays
won't be
in the
in the
slot at
slot.
all, but
Well, actually, so if Alex, when you were thinking of doing
the
a
PFF
field
says.
stack, would
Mhm.
it be with Amon Ra?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that actually takes I probably am a little
His
more
ownership will be up because of that for sure.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
and I
wouldn't
mean,
be high owned without it, but because I think Fields, I think Amon Ra is the like. There's no maybe Laporta after his big game, but it's
yeah,
most likely Amon Ra.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, he's only going to get Jalen Johnson not even a third of his snaps.
Yeah, he's on the outside
Yeah.
Yeah, so
90% of the
Diggs
game.
and Jefferson or for Keenan Allen will probably be the highest owned of them all, and I don't want to play the highest owned of a group that I generally don't like.
Right. Um. All
And
right.
so then below that, I mean, it goes, man, like I don't like anyone down here. Cup, Pittman, Puka, Olave. I like a bit if it's Winston. Without Winston, no. I don't really like the 49ers at all this week, or not even really the Seahawks. I mean,
I think you could
it's
play Puka, but definitely not Cup.
I don't really want to play either. I'd play Cup over Puka, but I don't want to play
Hasn't
either.
done anything.
He scored a touchdown last week, but
Yeah, and only got to 15.
yeah, I just don't really like either.
Yeah, this middle range
He,
is another dead zone. It feels like this week.
I like DJ Moore in the mid zone. DK Metcalf obviously had an insane 40 points last week, but I kind of like fading players after that big of a game, especially against San Fran.
Gino just popped up with a groin injury, too.
Did he?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think a groin like affects most? Like, I just think his
Mobility.
mobility.
Yeah. Yeah, for
So
sure.
that's tough when you're playing San Francisco.
Right.
And yeah, I just don't like DK because a lot of his routes you need more than 3 or 4 seconds on, and San Fran does not allow that frequently.
I mean, we saw what Gino did to Dallas, though.
It's true.
It's just kind of like, yeah, I just don't know off the injury and the big game. I mean, Thielen, I'm a little
Ugh.
interested in because of the slot matchup. Alante Taylor, like, I'm not joking, he is so awful. And Mingo has been Bryce Young's guy as of late, like since they changed up the coaching. He's had his first read target share went from like 27% to like 40 plus percent. It's swapped between Thielen and Mingo, but Mingo has the worst matchup, and Thielen has an insane matchup.
Yeah.
And he's like the cheaper than he's been in a long time. So, and weather games. So I like the dome a little bit here, safer spot. And then Zay Flowers is my next. Like then we start to get, it's kind of like at all these positions. It's like I like some of these really expensive guys, and then I just all this mid tier I just don't like this week. Zay Flowers though,
Yeah.
obviously I'm on Lamar. I absolutely love Zay Flowers this week.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, I mean he is taken over quite a bit of the Mark Andrews looks and target share. So definitely the top receiving threat with Andrews out for Lamar. And if you're thinking it's either a blowout or at least the Ravens are putting up points, I think Zay's getting in the end zone this week.
Yeah. What do we think? What do you guys think about Garrett Wilson? Because I kind of like him a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, like it's like everyone I look at in this tier above, I'm just like, and then I get the Flowers and my eyes kind of light up, and then Garrett Wilson, my eyes like he's 5,500.
Yeah.
Like that's
I think he's like
crazy.
he's a
And
high
give me a
floor
Zach
player.
Wilson.
He's a high floor player, but his ceiling, I think, is so capped around 20 points just because of the QB situation.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, let's see what he has.
Like even in his best matchups, like he's not putting up like winning
I don't know when you can get I think
or
12
lineup.
plus targets at 5,500. That's just I mean no who in his range is going to come close to that? Nobody. Not a single. Like I'm trying to think of the next person you could say that is comfortably going to get 10 plus targets, and it doesn't even occur until maybe
But here's the thing, it's like
DJ Moore at 65. But
I think he has 2 touchdowns on the year. Even against the Giants, he had 13 targets, 100 yards, 20 points. It's like,
and I'll take 20 at 5,500.
yeah.
I mean, you were talking about getting 20 from Justin Jefferson at 8,500. Like, I'll take 20 from Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a bad play. I just think he has I don't think he could put up 35 points. I don't know.
I'll
But
take
that's fine.
20 to 30 and I'm doing backflips. But Rasheed Rice, we talked about kind of.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
guys like him?
Yeah.
Like him
I
a
don't
lot.
I don't know that he gets to that 10 target guarantee, but 6 to 8 for sure.
Past 2 weeks, right there.
Yeah.
9, 10.
Yeah. And then since Tre'Davious White's gone down, Bills are allowing the second highest catch rate to wide receivers in the league. So yeah, love me some Rasheed Rice. Going down a little bit to I was more on Sutton than Judy last week, but I do think Judy is in play this week for me. I think that the Broncos, they've clearly settled in, and I think there was some kind of learning curve in the offense with Russ and Sean Payton's new offense there. And while it does seem like Sutton's kind of the go-to guy for us, Judy is always running these long routes. He's always got a chance at a home run ball. And other than Derwin James, which I think he'll be kind of over the top on Sutton a little bit more this week, the Chargers secondary is nothing to write home about. So I think,
Asante Samuel. It's pretty good.
again, he's going to be on, I think he's going to face Sutton more. Doesn't he play outside?
Yeah, I mean, I think Judy's probably the best talent in this range, but he has one game over 5 targets this entire year. So that's my problem with him.
My problem with, well, one, I like Javante a lot, so it's like, okay, if
Yeah.
I think Javante's scoring a rush, I actually think this might be better because I do like Judy again. Sutton just, so he's getting priced up every week that he like scores or does well. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has like 9 or 10 touchdowns. And guess what do you think his most fantasy points, knowing that he has 10 touchdowns on the year? Like, what do you think his highest score
Probably
is?
like 21 or something.
Yeah, it's 21 points.
Yeah.
He has like no ceiling, in my opinion. Like, he gets the touchdowns, but his highest yardage is 77 or no, 91 against Miami. That's when he had that 21 pointer. But like, he rarely gets double digit targets. I just don't think, and we saw Judy at the end of stretch last year. Like, he has a larger ceiling than Sutton. So
Yeah.
I kind of
Same
like a
thing with him though.
Devon.
Like two games over 8 targets. So
Yeah,
I feel like
no,
he's barely reached like elite usage level.
yeah, it hasn't been great. I think that the Broncos
They
in
just spread
general,
it
though,
out. There's just
well, they don't even really spread it out. He just doesn't, like, Russ runs it a bit. He's been a little more like efficient on his throws, but like they've had like a bit tougher of a passing schedule this year, and now he gets the Chargers. So I don't know. I'm up for a little bit of a Judy breakout here, but London, but right beneath him is definitely one of my favorite cheap guys. Like, my favorite receiver plays, I think, are all Zay Flowers and below, besides some of those expensive ones. But like, I love London against at Tampa Bay.
me too.
I mean,
The talent is, again, another one of these guys on the Falcons whose talent feels like it's kind of getting wasted a bit, but Tampa Bay is extremely beatable in the secondary. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I think he could put up like 15 points.
No, I mean, I'm not going for 15 when I play Drake London. When I play anyone, I'm thinking that they have a 25. Depending on salary, like London, I'm happy with 20 plus for tournaments. 15 is maybe in small field, it's like helping you. It's not like killing you, but like a large field, if you get a 15 from London, it's probably not winning you anything.
Right.
But no, I think he has 20 easily. Like, he's a guy that can for sure get out. He's a multi-touchdown type of guy, could get the 100 yards. Yeah, and I like Ritter, so of course I'm gonna like London. Elijah Moore is a guy that we have to
So I was
kind of talk
gonna,
about.
yeah, that's who I was. I was gonna ask Nick if he felt like that 12 target performance with Flacco is repeatable.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
Yeah, it's for
his
sure.
long balls weren't great, but I think like his timing routes, his slants, like he was the best Browns quarterback of the year for all the timing routes. So I think that benefits Njoku, Elijah Moore, these guys running inside, zone beating routes. I think that's where Flacco is still going to bring some value. Um, and I think he's going to get more looks. Like if Jacksonville keeps stuff in the run like they usually do, Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt, like they're not going to be able to play the Browns game that they usually do. We'll see how hard-headed Stefanski is because there's times where he commits to the run and just doesn't know when to give it up. So we'll see. But I think Elijah Moore is in a great spot, especially if Amari Cooper's not going to play.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it in the Jets. He had ceiling performances. Like, I'm more as with Elijah Moore as like a value one-off piece. I just and capture all of Flacco's through him, but I just can't see Flacco having a ceiling game.
Going down a little bit, from Elijah Moore, JSN. Saw 11 targets last week. His role has only increased throughout the year. And San Francisco is a very beatable team in the slot. And since Mufonga went down, that over the top ball, which we've seen JSN do in college, these explosive plays and these home run balls are definitely in play. If Gino's mobility is a little decreased, I think that lends itself well to his game as well. These kind of quick dump offs, running out of the slot. So JSN at 4,100 doesn't need to get you a whole lot of points to make it, and I think is in a good spot against the 49ers.
Yeah, I like JSN. I think he had only 3 targets the last time they played a few weeks ago, but I remember that was the game he had that crazy catch.
Yeah.
And then they came out after and they're like, we need to get him way more involved. And then 11 targets the next game.
Yeah, no shit. Throw the ball to your first round draft pick.
Yeah, who both Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson said that he was better than them.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, you might want to throw it his way a little more. And if Gino's banged up, like, he kind of is out of the slot, so
right.
Don't have as much time. Get it to JSN, see what he can do.
All right. Who else
underneath that? It's the only 2 guys for me. It's Odell and Bateman, only because I'm playing Lamar, but I've zero interest in pretty much any other any guy beneath JSN. So
What
I
about
think
Bateman?
That's what I said. Odell and Bateman.
Oh, sorry, missed that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Which is why, again, like, I think CEH is super valuable this week. Because, like, if you look at, like, receivers that, like, what receiver has, like, the upside to really beat CEH if it was a 1v1? I mean, Odell, Bateman probably could. JSN. And that's it. Like, there's no one else in that price or under that I think could. So it's like,
are you going to sprinkle any Sky Moore?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Just thought I'd check. I don't know. All right, move to tight ends and then
yeah.
I mean, Laporta's pretty good. And like every week,
I'm not chasing that.
I had him a little bit last week, and I was like, I wish I would have played more of him.
Yeah, same. I played a little bit, and if you didn't have a lot, you weren't really doing much.
Yeah, he held up a few lines for me, but
I'm a cheap unless I'm playing Kelsey with Mahomes. I'm like cheap tight end this week.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of good cheap options.
Yeah, a lot of Kyle Pitts, Isaiah Likely,
Njoku,
Cole
Kmet,
Evan Ingram.
No, I don't like Ingram.
I think suck against the tight end.
If Schultz is out, I think Brevin Jordan is playable.
Oh yeah, if he's out for sure.
What did I say last week, PB? You scoffed at me when I called Brevin Jordan.
No, I didn't. I literally agreed and said he's a good play.
We're gonna need to call him the progressive replay here.
Yeah, please bring it up because I played Brevin Jordan a ton last week, and he actually, even though Laporta crushed, Brevin Jordan was fine. Like in small field, like I still had a pretty good day. I played Brevin Jordan in every single one of my small field tournaments.
Yeah, I played him a decent amount too.
I like, and yeah, he's probably a solid play again if Schultz is out. What do you guys think about Cade Otton and Tyler Conklin?
Probably not Conklin, but
I mean, Houston is just, I mean, 9 targets. Again, that wasn't Zach Wilson, but another touchdown regression candidate, in my opinion, is Tyler Conklin. He gets these targets and then I've seen him fall short of scoring plenty of times. And at 3K, if he gets in, he's for sure paying off that price tag. Do you attack Houston with tight ends? They're like bottom 2 or 3 against them.
I mean, I kind of like the young gun, Jeremy, aka Darius Rutker.
Yeah, let's look at Rutgers.
I mean, they really just started playing the guy. So,
Yeah, but they're still
he's
Rutgers.
getting 3-4 targets a game. I mean, we want to talk about touchdown dependency. It's not a bad place to look.
I'll just play Conklin for 500 more, or like I said, Kate Otten. Like again, it's just because I'm on that game, so I'm gonna more with Baker, but I also would straight up play most of these guys like Conklin or Otten over the cheap receivers. That's why I said it's either like a 3 running back or a 2 tight end week for the flex. And I rarely say that. There was one other week I was kind of on it, but I would rather play Otten or Conklin or Pitts. All these guys are like the best value, straight up value plays in my opinion.
For sure.
All right, and then I guess we'll build a lineup now.
Let's get into it. All right. What's
My votes will be either Lamar, Baker, or Ritter.
Lamar, Baker, or Ritter? Nick, do you want to?
Actually, I'll say Lamar or Ritter.
I was going to say, Nick, do you want to finally get your shot at playing your boy Baker?
I mean, no, because what Nick said about the safeties kind of like I was ready because I feel like Mike Evans was once again going to come in like he's like a guy. He always comes in low owned every single week. He's never a guy people play, and he's had massive weeks. I've had Mike Evans has probably been one of my more profitable players all year.
10 straight seasons with 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah.
I think we called out a lot of good value plays. So I think my vote would be Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, so I was on Lamar. Ritter. You vote Mahomes. What do you vote, Alex? I'm fine with any of the top 3 as well. For what it's worth, it's just Lamar and Ritter would be.
I kind of want to build a Lamar stack because I think we're going to have more fun with some of the other game skill positions.
Okay.
We can still play some of that game too.
For sure. So we're going to get Zay. And what do you think? Likely or
I would put
OBJ?
I would put likely in if we're playing Zay.
How do you feel about that one, Nick?
It's good. Smart stack.
All right. And then I know PB's okay without a run back. Nick, do you feel the same?
Yeah, I don't think Puka's going to pay for himself.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron would be the
Kyron if we played a run back, but I'm fine with not playing him.
Okay.
Considering I like other running backs substantially more.
Okay.
Yeah.
My vote for running backs would be McCaff. I'm fine with CMC. I mean, my favorites are CMC, CEH, and Javonte Williams. But again, like I like Kamara, I like Eckler.
I kind of like going with the 3 initials. CMC, CEH. Kind of evens itself out price wise too.
Yeah, I mean,
still opens
they're a
up
great
a lot
combo
for
this
us.
week. Because like I like if people are playing Purdy and those guys, which I don't like as much this week. Like I think Kittle, and I think people might be like, "Oh, it's finally a Kittle week, and I'm not on him again." People are going to go back to Debo and Brandon Ayuk, and we just take McCaffrey to score all the points in that game.
Yep.
We take instead of people playing Kelsey, Rashee Rice, Mahomes, like we just play CEH, capture the Chiefs. But we could do a mini stack. Like we could still probably play. Diggs is the only one I really like.
I think it'd be really fun to play McCaffrey, Jefferson, because I think you could still get.
But if we're playing that game, why wouldn't we play Diggs? Because we don't have like I would like.
Oh, you're talking about a run back in the.
Yeah, like a mini stack.
Like we're basically like playing a little. We're kind of playing Josh Allen to a degree, with Diggs. But I don't know. Maybe it won't fit. Probably have to do two tight
I think
ends.
Diggs is going to have a massive game, but I don't think you could get him and Jefferson. I mean, that
No, you can't play both. But I just think in this lineup, like if we had Devontae Adams here, I would say Jefferson, but
throw Diggs in.
we'll see. It might not even work. I mean, we have defense still, but
I mean, why don't we plug in a cheap defense and see what is
the thing
left?
is, I went through defenses, and my favorite ones I think were all 2,900 and above, starting with the Jets. But like it was like
Yeah,
the Jets, the Browns only if Beathard's in, but the Browns will be the most popular defense for that reason. So I would say either the Jets, the scroll up. Who's it? I like the Lions. If Fields is going to be popular, like there's another great leverage piece. DJ Moore and Fields again. I think are going to be the number one stack. But
kind of like I don't hate the Jets this week or the Broncos.
I like Jaguars, Jets, Lions.
The Colts have had 3 pretty good defensive weeks.
Yeah, but I don't like chasing the good defensive weeks because of
They've also played Carolina, New England, and
yeah,
Tennessee.
exactly. And
But I
now
think Cincy with a backup, I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a trouble
think-
having Diggs in here.
I think
I mean, even if we go JSN, we still got to find
Yeah.
one more at 4K.
yeah, let's take Diggs out. We're gonna probably have to get a little more mid. Well, let's get our. I mean, do you want this to be a 3 running back build? Because we seem to
I
like
like
some of those.
Javante.
Yeah, I like Javante too.
All right, and then we got 5,500.
This is
What
kind
if
of the
you
range
did like
I
Elijah Moore or Drake London?
like London.
Throw in London maybe.
Can get up to Ridley and Thielen.
I do like Thielen. We would have Godwin if we want a little, but no, then but then we could upgrade our defense because Godwin, London would be a little bit of a
Mm-hmm.
stack there. But I do like Thielen as well. Thielen's also another guy that, not in addition to just the matchup, like man coverage is one that he's like the Saints play man, like that's all we pretty much play, and that's what he's excelled at this year is man coverage.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Lattimore's still gone.
Yeah, and then Adebo's going to probably be on Mingo, and then you're going to have Alante Taylor, who is awful on Thielen.
Play it.
All right. I like it. Okay, that'll do it for week 14. We'll be back for our bets show next week. We're almost at the end of the season. It's almost playoff time. We got to get one of these millies. We got to get one of these. It's running out of time here.
We got this.
We're close.
This is
All
the
right. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you next time.